fired up. Gotta do a couple little things here before we get going. Alright. Alrighty. Hello everyone. I think we've got the right rig going on here. Let's see what we got. I just zeroed in on Orion. I'm about to fire up a stack. We'll see what we can get out of it. It's 18 degrees out. About 8 p.m. Excuse me, 8:30. And with that said, let's see what we can get here. Or that bad boy. Alright, waiting for an exposure. Build up a couple and then give it a shot here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Very nice detail in there. Focus looks pretty good. Assuming I took my mask off, let me make sure. Looks like it fell off. Perfection. Okay, we got a couple exposures. You can adjust the histogram and pull up to the data down here. Darken the background, looks very pretty. The skies are great tonight. Very cool. And of course we're not done. We can really stretch that even though we only have 90 seconds. Oh, we got a satellite in there. Yep, I don't like that. Fire up my YouTube monitor, in other words my cell phone. After we connect to an internet connection. Yeah, again, that looks very good. 60 seconds of data is enough to start adjustment. Stretch it out. We'll start to see a lot of that really cool nebulosity in there. Hey Jack, just noticed, sorry, I was doing housekeeping as I usually am, of some sort. So this is the Explorer Scientific 127 carbon fiber. There is the 0.7 ES 3-inch reducer on it. Hoping you can hear me. I think my phone was just playing audio, so that's cool. And trying to get some tea. And yeah, I think you know that I'm using the ZWO ASI294MC Pro. A lot of iterations of that chip out there, obviously. But works pretty well. Gives a nice pleasing image, and tonight we have pretty good seeing. The clear sky clock is showing some kind of, you know, wispy haze passing through, but this rig cuts through it pretty well. That looks pretty cool. Anyway. Oh, excellent. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. I plan on spending you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes max on objects, and then zip around. We've got the skies tonight, and enough aperture and camera legs to get it done. And that looks really nice. It'll certainly take a little more. I don't like to go too crazy with it, but I really enjoy seeing the depth of the nebulosity in here. That's really cool. Seems to really be standing out. And just the opposite, Jack. It's typically been cloudy and raining or snow, or you know, not enough to go snowmobiling, but just enough to make things miserable. I have an old school moon glow. It's probably from NEAF in 2000. I don't know, maybe 9 or 10, somewhere around there. Works pretty well. Certainly nothing high end, but it wasn't expensive. It was in the $300 range. And I can remove hot pixels, etc., do all that, and mask things, you know, whatever, security features, that kind of stuff. But I just don't really bother at this point. But of course, you know, I've got the old Sony Super 8, you know, the High 8, which has the infrared for inside the dome, so you can get a shot of the live telescope mount and the night shot. Yeah, agreed. Running Man looks really nice, and it's only getting better. Yeah, they did stop making them, most accessories, and mine has some etching that's really visible on super sunny days and in extreme cold on the housing just because of its age. But other than that, you know, it's hard to notice, and it works pretty good, and certainly detects the clouds, which is what I use it for, and comic relief on these broadcasts. Do you still use yours at all? Yeah, that looks really nice. A lot of good depth. Wasn't paying too much attention to the cooling. I think I could crank it down just a little bit. Watch that power number there. I don't like to get it too far above 30. Yeah, the all sky from Cam is certainly an upgrade, that's for sure. Beautiful image. Look at that. And I haven't done any other adjustment to the histogram, so why not now? Oh, excellent! With the software. So, sorry, I didn't get that. That's great that they work together. Yeah, their software certainly got the job done. That's cool that it works with other cameras. I haven't even tried. I've got a third monitor with the chat on it up really high, so I'm looking at a different monitor and peek over and see that you wrote something, so forgive me if I'm a little delayed. Ah, nice. Are you taking individual images and luminance, or oh, you mean your all sky, sorry. Why is that? Oh yeah, we can make this much prettier. Yeah, I don't like too much blue. It was pretty natural to start, but you can always, you know, kind of tweak it a titch. That looks really nice. 10 minutes. Yeah, I know. I often do. I have nothing applied either. I haven't put in a darker reflex. I haven't taken any tonight. I was jumping the gun, and I just I had printed a nylon 42 millimeter to 48 millimeter adapter to, you know, put me in the 55 millimeter distance range for my focal reducer. And as I said, I printed it out of nylon, and I came out here, and I haven't used it in a week or two since I put it on, and I found it really loose, you know, so the temperature had really worked on the nylon, which is surprising. So I came back in and printed one out of a really good PLA that I have, and it's hard as a rock, and that's what I'm using right now. So that's with the filter wheel you know, and such. So take a custom one that I had to make myself for just my gear. Working really well right now though, and that's focused just with a batten-off mask, printed as well on a 3D printer. But I might have something to add to it. Let's see if I have any 30. Those are, I'll tell you what. Oops, mouse. We'll keep it dark. That's pretty good, but I'll do another flat later. Yeah, I have a couple of them actually. I'm constantly printing things. It's ridiculous at this point. That's great. All right. We'll save off a couple of these, a couple different formats. And a PNG of, you know, similar to a uncompressed raw, sort of. Looks pretty nice. All right. Now, I actually wanted to hit M1. So I think we're going to do that. Oh, yes, of course. Now, we'll see if we're... Now my alignment is middling because last time I used it I hit it, so I don't know how bad, but when I went to Orion it was right around here, which is pretty good. Typically it's dead center. I mean, it really is a good mount, but it's going to take a little stretching here to to see if it's in the field of view, and then we'll start guiding and fire it up. Should look real nice. Assuming we can see it. There she is. So the gain will go up to 400 plus. I don't really ever go up that high. 350 from my experience is pretty much the max, or I shouldn't say the max, it's like the sweet spot if you're looking for high, you know, high gain, low noise. I can certainly have a ton of range below that, but I run at 350 and manage my exposure for everything else. And of course the size of the image, how I'm shooting, raw, you know, etc. What format, 8-bit, 16-bit. So with that said, you know, there isn't a ton of adjustment that I really need to do. The camera is excellent. I'm very pleased with it. I've been trying to chase other issues, light bleed, you know, looking at inside the scope. I took it all apart today, looked inside, and really it was nicely well baffled and dark, so that was not that. So I looked inside the moonlight focuser. I saw a pattern that seemed to brighten the incoming light in that area. I might print a tiny thin shim that just fits it and slide it up in there and paint it, you know, really good black, flat black, and see if it helps. Tonight I'm not seeing any problems. Meanwhile, I'm jabbering away when I should be aligning. So I know what we want. There's our guy. So we'll do this. Bear with me as I put the object where I want it. I think that was pretty close. Okay. Yeah, so basically what's happening in the view that I'm in is I'm just setting an exposure time, and it's just repeatedly cycling that amount of seconds. It's not stacking them, it's not summing, it's not doing anything at all. I'm running at that gain setting with, you know, I'm running auto white balance right now, and I typically run at 8 for the brightness for my preferences. The cooler I try to keep, and I haven't been paying attention here, I try to keep it about 30% usage, and it's rated for, I believe, you know, 25 degrees below ambient, and it really usually does that, if not a little bit better. So it's pretty cool. And but I got to kind of keep on it. I got to see if we can get that down just a hair more, and I'll be happy. That's probably pretty good. Yeah, so that's what it is, and I'm just gonna get that object more or less in the center. So a little more. I could crank up the gain, and I'd probably see it. I mean, you can see how sensitive it is. I just rarely do that. I'm kind of a glutton for punishment. And yeah, that looks great. All right. So we got a good location. We'll clear our data, clear our histogram. I hope you don't mind waiting 45 seconds for the first one to come in here. And we'll let it do its thing. There. I'm going to pour myself. Where am I? There I am. Hey. I'm going to pour myself some of the elixir. I got about 15 seconds to go. Get on in there. Oh, egg salad. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, I do too. I mean, typically I don't have to. Most of the objects it sees, you know, I can tell right where it is by the stars and stuff and just move it around, you know, but you're absolutely right. That's beautiful. I'll let another exposure come in before we make that nice and start developing some, you know, some really good detail. I imagine a lot of the red and stuff will start to pop out after just a couple minutes right up in here. Yes, the tea is very hot. All right, it's a few more seconds. No, I've never had any problems with dew inside the observatory. It's a dome. You can actually see it in the image here. That's the dome. The sensors on the outside of the observatory kind of offset a few feet out, sticking up a little bit, so you can see the dome and the house and the neighborhood and everything, you know, 360. But yeah, so you're looking in the night shot, you're looking inside the dome. You can see the wood at the bottom is you know, the frame, and then the dome is a polydome. which I've had for a long time, and it is fantastic. All right, 120 seconds. I think we're ready to start tweaking. Oh my God, I don't even want to corrupt it. So nice. Oh, that's not nice. Forgive me. Let's do that again. Yes, so essentially the observatory is 2 observatories. There's a 10 by 10 front with a dome, 8-foot dome. And then the back is, excuse me, I'm on call, so checking my phone. Yeah, so 10 by 12 in the front. I'm in a basically a little over 3-foot warm room. You know, that is much of the, you know, that extra 2 feet plus, you know what I mean, that I built it. 8-foot dome. So anyway, on the back is a 10 by 10 addition that sits up on a platform 4 feet off the ground with a isolated pier that's about 3 feet square, run just over 4 feet tall. Sitting on that is a 20-inch obsession. And that is all housed, as I said, in a 10 by 10 building that's a clamshell and opens up. And that is, I use a lot more, obviously, in the summer. You know, but right now, there actually isn't a lot of snow because we got a lot of rain. So, but it's easy enough just to pop in the observatory and open the dome. After getting this camera, I'm much happier just kind of sitting around viewing things and not even taking images and processing. I'm liking the images on screen enough. Yeah, the domes are great. Not that expensive, you know. I got mine at Neef, drove it home. It was hilarious. All right, now we're back to 120 seconds. As I said, I don't want to go too much because that's already such a dark area of the sky. You'll forgive my my music, which sounds like a Parisian street. It's this website called Computozer that just is ad-free, you know, royalty-free, forgive me, music. So YouTube doesn't flag my streams for, you know, copyrighted music. And every once in a while the AI plays some pretty interesting music. If you can hear it, it gets loud every once in a while. That looks really cool. I'm going to zoom in. And we can start to see a good amount of that that red in there. It'll be coming out as we get more data and we can darken the sky background. Oh, that's great. Cool. Yeah, I think I knew that you had taken the plunge and, you know, had enjoyed yours for years. Although I think you had some issues with, or have been a lot more ambitious than I have. Let's say I never motorized my my front flap, you know, that kind of thing. Well, I would have gone bigger if I could have afforded it at the time. You know how that is. Yep. Yep. I'm doing nothing of the choices. I'm leaving it as default. Typically I'm aligning frames. I don't know why that's not checked. Again, I just kind of popped in tonight and fired everything up. That might even clean things up a touch. Oops. Yeah, I remember reading that years ago when I was a lot more active on the forum. What's the situation now, in a nutshell? Oh, that's great. Excellent. Yeah, I haven't had any trouble. I replaced I had a 35 amp hour battery that I had hooked up to a Harbor Freight 150 watt, 3-panel system that I bought years ago. Just mounted to the outside of the observatory, and that has charged a 35 amp hour battery. I'm on my second one. I think we're on 10 years, so that's not too bad at all. Free power for all that time, and it's powered the dome without issue. I think the key fob wireless remote died on me many years ago. I haven't used that in a long time. I just have the switch hung above me right here, and just doot, easy enough. I'm lazy, but I'm not that lazy. All right, this is definitely calling for more stretching. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds complicated. And yes, I agreed. The opening itself is kind of, futzy, for lack of a better word. And it's never been a smooth extraction, to open the shutter, the lower section. But it takes me 2 seconds, so I really haven't worried about it. If I was trying to be remote and fully automated, of course, I'd have to deal with it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Do you have a isolated warm room? Yeah, I think I left my key fob outside on the stoop or something of the observatory one year. Found it the next morning and, changed the battery, but it didn't work. Yeah, that was the end of that. Starting to see a lot of that red. Very nice. Huh. Oh man, I've been out here the last few weeks. 0, -4, -8 one night. That's right outside, and there's a curtain right here. It's hilarious. But I have discovered a new device, which I'm very fond of. I'd show it to you, but it would blind you because it is unfortunately kind of bright. Not that you can really tell, but it's under my desk here. And typically I had these blower fans, 1500 watt. They're the standard size. Boom, boom. You can hear them in the background. There's one behind me. And I have 2 of those. And in order to keep me warm, I have to run both of those. And it really doesn't keep me warm, but it, you know, keeps it 55 in here or so when it's that cold outside, you know, 10 or below. Tonight's a luxury. It's 18, so I'm baking in here. But this is a parabolic heater that I got from Harbor Freight on sale for $22, which is like nothing. I took a chance. It's huge, and it runs at 400 watts or 450 and 900 watts, as opposed to 900 and 1500, which is all the other ones. And they have fans and all this stuff. This has none of that. It's simply a heating element that's outside at the end of a parabolic dish, right? And it basically heats and shoots at the dish and then radiates out. It's a parabolic heater. And on 450 watts, I am baking. It's easily 3 times better and more efficient than the other ones. And it doesn't move or anything at this point, but it will oscillate if you want it to. I just have it kind of aimed at the wall so there isn't any light coming off it going into the observatory. Anyway, long story. But it's amazing. $22, and I wish I knew about it years ago. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be lightweight. You're going to think it's junk. There's nothing to it. All it is a rotary, an oscillation mechanism, $2 part, and then this safety cage and a heating element about that big. And I'd say the parabolic dish is, maybe 2 feet wide. I can pull it up and kind of show you. I think it's going to shut itself off, but maybe you can see. Yep, there she is. My autofocus is going to crap. There we go. That's what it looks like. It's pretty big, and you see it has all these safety things. It's still plugged in and on. It's just that I picked it up and moved it, and it's like, no, I'm not going to work. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then it just turns itself back on. Tuck in that cable. Yeah. So the only downside of it is that it does generate some light. So as long as you can put it in an area of the observatory that isn't directly shining on, obviously. And I just have some curtains and it's making no effect on the imaging whatsoever. Standard light bleed as much as the monitors, which I have on full output. I haven't even dimmed them tonight. So yeah, I'm very satisfied. All right, and that looks very nice. I mean, for 75% zoom, we're getting a little crazy here. And 7 minutes. I will play with it for a couple more minutes, and then we will go somewhere else. I'm glad that little plastic piece is working out. It's always trying to fit the threads, right off the printer. But they made it pretty well. That looks cool. Yeah. Back down that green a little. Maybe not quite that much. Looks good. All right. Well, I was wanting to do some galaxy hopping. Maybe that's up enough. For 82 and 81, I think that's where we'll go. Hopefully they're above the trees. Have to find out. Very cool. M1 Crab Nebula. Yeah, I like the camera. I like the software is pretty good. The reducer is pretty good. Telescope's pretty damn good for the price for a 127 triplet. You know, I'm not rich, so you got to choose carefully while still under the budget, and that certainly fit the bill, and it's been great. And that's on, of course, the Atlas mount, which is EQ6. Comet and Leo. Interesting. Well, there we go. Iwamoto. Cruises through Virgo to Leo. There you go. Well said, sir. Iwamoto is the name. 7th magnitude. Oh, that's very cool. Let's see if we can figure out where. Right below Regulus. It should be right in here by Denebula. Which is too low on the horizon for me. I've got trees up to probably right about there. But we can try. Let's see. Looks like we have some housekeeping work. I'll be right back. Computer that I'm using is not the most powerful. And as a result, memory management sometimes is a little bit odd. That's being so weird. What light are you talking about? That's great. And my little sled, I took a peek to see if it was just clearing the huge trees I have right in that area, and it looks like it might be available to me, but I don't feel like hunting it down. I can't find my binoculars to pinpoint it, and I still need to take a dark and a flat, probably just a flat at least. Anywho, I'll stop complaining and go over to M82. See them, they're way up high. That's the key. They may be available. Although probably not. No, in my trees. So let's see what happens. Yes, PhD. I always forget about you. The elixir while that slews. Peak. The elixir is just chamomile tea with a half a lemon squeezed and thrown in it. Oh, so good. Looks like urine, I guess. It's not. Oh, so there they are. Hey, thanks a lot for stopping by, Jack, man. It's great. I really appreciate you hanging out and chatting with me. Have a great night, man. It's good, except it needs a little bit of rotation. Looks pretty good. Alright, let's see what we can do. We'll see if the see if the guiding needs to be recalibrated or not. Okay. Certainly looks nice. No, guiding is shite and needs to be redone. Yes, the brain. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, let it calibrate. Take a minute here. Another calibration in process. Usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes. And if you move more than 30 degrees away from a target, you know, once you calibrate, I mean, I really say 30 degrees, it's pretty ridiculous, but that's the way it is. You need to recalibrate to get good guiding. So I say, suck it up. Skies are pretty good. A lot of hot pixels in that image. Continue here. Still going on the calibration. side. I am allowing my mount to calibrate because I just moved to another region of the sky and I'm about to image some galaxies that are primed and poised and ready to go. Calibration for guiding on a star that will help the mount track with better precision. That is a step that usually takes a few minutes. It's just about done, hopefully. And we can fire this up and get some more great images. And the previous ones have been fantastic. I'm sure the ones that are coming are going to be just as good. In fact, these two galaxies are wonderful. You can see the core of maybe two right there. Alright, finally we are guiding. We have a good location. We can start a stack. We probably only need 30-second subs, so. this is cool. I'll probably image this, go for just a little bit longer, and then stop the broadcast, go get some dinner, and then come back, take some darks, some flats, and clean up the hot pixels. Get rid of all that stuff, make everything, see if we can get it all to go away, and go back at it and dig a little deeper and try to hit that comet if it ever clears those trees for me that Jack was telling us about. Still looks very nice. I'll figure out exactly where it is and go find my binoculars so I can spot it, and then I can eye the telescope on it, and that be the solution. Yeah, alright, fine. Interesting in the colors. Looks really cool though. Five minutes. With a nice cleaned up image. That's going to be really good. Alright everyone, thanks a lot. I'll be back a little later.